What's going on, guys? Thank you for stopping by Western.ops. I want to make this video talking about my new press. It's the Dillon 750 XL. And everything here I paid for, so I have no bias. But I want to make this video talking about a couple things that I didn't see online. There's a lot of videos online talking about different people's setup, how to get it started, and a lot of other stuff. And I just want to talk about some of the things that I've experienced that I didn't see online, and I didn't see anybody else talking about it. So if you're looking to get this press, if you're looking to upgrade your press, or if you have some different components you want to get, this video might help you out. So stay tuned till the end, and hopefully you pick something up out of this video and you learn something the easy way versus spending the money and trying it yourself. So let's take a closer look at the press, and then we'll come back and talk about it. Alright guys, so starting off at the top and working our way down, I'll kind of talk about some of the things that I got, and then I'll just do a quick run through of it, and then we'll get to some of the things that weren't really talked about, and then I have some 5.56 ready to go. I've already gone through the whole conversion and switched everything over from 9mm, and I've only had this for probably about 2.5 months, maybe 3 months. I picked it up at the beginning of November. We're now in the beginning of January, so I probably got it set up at the end. I think I set it up around Thanksgiving weekend. And then here we are just after New Year's, and I'm making this video. So I probably have about 13 to 1,500 rounds loaded up through this press between 10mm, 9mm, 308, and 5.56, 223. So I've done quite a few changeovers, and I've kind of bounced around different calibers. So I've gone through the whole conversion, switching it over quite a few times. The first time it's a little bit more difficult, but once you get to do it quite a few times, it gets really fast. I can do the whole caliber conversion in probably about 15 minutes, and then setting up your dies obviously take longer, and it just depends on how set up you are. I would suggest the next thing I'm going to get is going to be the new easy conversion, I think they call it, where it comes with a different powder measure and your tool head. Definitely need a couple tool heads, but I would like to have at least 2 powder measures. And then after that, it'll make life a lot easier for switching over. So starting off the top, I did get the case feed, or the case feeder, and that's been working out great. Now, when you get the case feeder, you do have to get the plates. So one thing that I did get to make life a little easier is I got the double alpha pistol plate, and this makes it a little easier because you only have one plate for your large and your small pistol calibers. So going between 10 and 9mm, don't have to do anything different. It just drop them in and go. So that's made life a lot easier because the plates are a little expensive. They're about $48 a piece for Dillon's. And I do have the large rifle and small rifle, and then that plate was $46 or $42. So it's a little bit cheaper than one plate from Dillon, but you get 2 in 1. So I would definitely suggest that. It does come with a new, a little plastic piece that does go inside your case feeder that helps straighten out the cases, and you're supposed to get faster results with that plate. I think maybe 9-10% faster. It's not a whole lot different. You really don't notice it once you get going, but the fact that you can use 1 for 2, that makes life a lot easier, and it saves you $50. So I would definitely suggest that when it comes to case feeder. And then going down, one other thing that I picked up quite a few different things, but I did get the double alpha, the powder measure knob, and so right now I have my large powder bar in. So the knob will work for both your small and your large powder bars, but it does come with an additional piece that goes on your small powder bar, and it's just another piece that actually bolts onto the powder bar, so it won't fit over the large powder bar because it's too big. But as you can see right here, what it is you have the detents on this thing right here. There's a couple different detents, and then there's a little line on it that helps you for like indicator line. That makes life a lot easier when you're adjusting your powder. Now, when I go to my large powder bar, I just used just a knob, and it made life a lot easier for getting my powder right, going from 308 to 556. Obviously, it's about half the powder, and it was a lot easier to tune it in to where you want. Obviously, the harsh adjustments or the big adjustments is not a big deal, but when it comes to those fine tuning adjustments, um, the other option is you have to use your wrench here, and it's the 7/16. Actually, will just go over it. It's a little harder, not impossible, but it takes a little bit longer to get it tuned in to where you want it to be. So having the knob, you can make very small, precise adjustments at a time, and it made life a lot easier. So I would suggest that. Um, I did get the double alpha powder alarm. That one, I'm not going to suggest anybody else go out and get it yet. I'm still playing with it, but it seems to be a little bit more trouble than what it's worth. Um, I'm really thinking about either trying the Dillon to see if the Dillon's any better, or just going with the straight manual one without the alarm. Reason being is the alarm is very sensitive, and when you watch the video, they talk about the original one had the ability to adjust how sensitive your alarm is. The new one, I can't find that screw where what they talked about how you can adjust it. I can't see any way of adjusting it. I've taken it up. I've taken the battery cover off. I haven't taken the thing fully apart, but there is no exposed screw or any way of changing how sensitive it is, and that does get in the way with the dial when it has to go all the way up to get to the point. Basically, what it is you have this box here. This pops on right here, and when it gets to a certain point, it's fine. If it's up or low, it does it does set off an alarm. And when you're using extruded powders, they never line up the same. Even if it's the same charge, the way the powder sits, it's going to have a different height adjustment, and it's measuring off of volume. So because of the fact that the extruded powders lay differently the inside your case, you're getting constant alarms going off. And I kept taking them off, throwing them on the scale, and they're either right on or up or down zero point 0.1 grain. And with the powder measure like this and using extruded powders, you really can't ask for much more than that, plus or minus zero point 0.1 grain or a tenth of a grain, however you want to say it. So that's been more of a headache for anything else. So actually what I've done is I actually made some marks on the rod that goes up and down. I adjusted the magnet part to make it so it will go up to the highest elevation that I need without hitting the powder bar or the knob. And then I just got a Sharpie and made a couple lines on the actual bar so I can visually check to see if the powder is within the range that I want it to be. And I found that a lot easier when it comes to my rifle stuff and extruded rounds. When it came to pistol, the alarm works okay until I got the knob. Once you get the knob, it kind of throws everything off. And I'd rather have the knob on than using the alarm system. And then the other thing that with messing with it is every time this would go inside the case and touch the powder, because that's how it measures, obviously, part of your couple grains of powder or a couple sticks of powder or pieces of powder would always stick to the rod. And then when you lift it out, you're pulling powder out of your charge, so you're actually lessening your charge at that time. Might not make a difference. But the other thing is it was constantly, every time I'd go in, it'd pick up a couple grains and then it'd fall off, and it was making a big mess. Well, it was making a mess. I wouldn't say a big mess, but it was making a mess. It was leaving powder all over my press, all over the place. So what I've done is I actually dipped that inside of a dry case loop that came with another piece of equipment I have. And since I did that, the powder isn't sticking to the rod the rod that sticks down here, which goes all the way through. It doesn't stick to the rod anymore. Going down, another additional piece that I got was the tool head or the tool holder that holds all your Allens that mounts to the back, which I believe you can see that on the screen. It's right back here. And then I got the upgraded Allens. It does come with Allens when you buy this, but getting upgraded Allens does help because it's the ones that have the little ball piece at the bottom. So if you're not in a perfect line, it makes it so you can still tighten and loosen your screws without stripping anything out, and you get a good grip on it. And so I really suggest that, and having the fact that they're very accessible and labeled and in order, it makes life a lot easier versus digging around your reloading bench or in your drawer, wherever you keep them. It keeps everything nice and organized. And I got that after the fact. It was something I wanted, but I didn't know how bad I would really want it. And having that has been very nice. Going down from there, we have the bullet plate or the bullet holder, the little plate that sits off to the bottom, which is the very bottom of the screen, but I believe you can see it in the screen. Having this thing in here not only holds your bullets, but it makes life easy. It's very convenient to having that up with the addition of the strong mount. Now, I ordered the bullet holder or the bullet plate, and I didn't order the strong mount in the beginning. And I was going to mount this straight to my table, but I was having some problems because my table, the front face of my table is about 3.5, 4 inches thick. It's just a piece of wood that I have on there holding, just when I built the table, it's there. Well, I wasn't able to actually use the press handle all the way because the bottom of the bolt or the press handle kept hitting my table. So I wasn't getting a full extension on the ram. So obviously you need your ram to go all the way up. So that was a problem. And then, so I ended up getting a strong mount right after I picked up the press. I had to go out and buy a strong mount. And that is really the only way you can mount the bullet plate to it. The bullet plate actually mounts to the strong mount, not to the press. So if you are able to mount the press straight to your table, you don't need the bullet holder because it's going to sit low enough where you can actually put your box of bullets or your container of bullets right next to the press, and you don't have the problem. So really, this is if you get the strong mount, this would be a good addition. If you don't get the strong mount, don't worry about this. You don't need it. And there's really no way of mounting it unless you get an additional type of mounting plate that this can mount to. I know the Inline Fabrication makes one that is flat and you can mount the bullet tray to it, but you really don't need it because it's going to sit so low. And then the other big addition that I got is the handle. It comes with one of the regular ball handles, which this is what it looks like here. And it's fine. It works good. But if you're doing a lot of rounds, you're constantly moving your wrist. And I didn't know that I really wanted it or I needed it. It looked cool. So it was something that was on my list. It was in my cart to get. But then going to a local gun shop that has it set up as display, trying the two different handles, it makes a big difference. It really helps out with your grip and the fact that the handle actually rolls. You don't have to move your wrist around. You don't have to move your hand. It makes life a lot easier. So definitely not in the very beginning. If you're trying to keep it on a budget, just you don't need it if you're trying to keep it on a budget. But if you want to upgrade, that would be a great upgrade to get, and that would be something I would suggest. That's pretty much everything that I figured out so far with the press, as far as the stuff that I've noticed that other people aren't talking about. I want to talk a little bit about my experience with Dillon so far. When I got the press, it came in a reasonable time. I did order it before Black Friday, but they didn't have no Black Friday sales anyways. So I don't know if they had a big rush for Black Friday. But shipping was pretty quick. I didn't have no issues with their shipping. I think it came in about a week, I want to say. I think I ordered it either towards the end of one week or on the weekend. And then by Wednesday, Thursday, it came in. So I'll say 5 to 6 days, it probably came in. The press itself comes in and it is extremely well packaged. There's a lot of foam. There's a lot of videos out there if you're curious to see what the box looks like when it comes in. But the way that they lay it out, everything comes in really, really good. And the packaging, or when you see online or a lot of the other videos they talk about, I think the videos are older and they've kind of changed it because the prices have been different from some of those videos. And one thing they always talk about is it comes with a extra conversion kit box, not the kit, not the actual conversion. Well, I did see some videos that said it comes with one conversion kit. It does not come with any conversion kit. Everything is an add-on now, but it does say that it comes with a actual container, just an extra container. It doesn't come with that anymore either. They cut that off, and then when I did order mine, so you have to pay for everything extra. When I got my conversion kits, I got two conversion kits. I got the 9mm and the 5.56 to start off. I've recently picked up some more from my local gun shops. But one thing I did notice is this wasn't packaged that great. It was two of these stacked on top of each other with one piece of bubble wrap over the top of it. And when they did come in, this was a little bit broken. There's a little plastic piece that goes right in the middle, which holds your shell holder, and it's broken right there in the middle. In the middle, you can kind of see the mark. This is supposed to be right there. So it's supposed to hold up. It's supposed to be right in the middle of your shell plate. That was packaged, or that was broken. I'm not gonna say it was Dillon's fault because they did package it. I'm sure the postal service or whoever delivered it, whether it be USPS or UPS or FedEx, I forgot who was doing the delivery. They must have dropped it and they had it in a box on the side with my case feeder in the same box as my case feeder. One of my cases did have a little hairline crack down the side too. So that kind of sucked a little bit. I did not bring that up to Dillon when I called him. I did have one issue with this press last weekend. When I was loading, there's this little plastic piece, which is this piece right here. Now this is a new one. I think right there. I think you can see it. So it's just a little plastic piece, and what that is it goes to the fail-safe rod that is attached to your powder measure, which closes your powder dispenser, your powder measure, while using it. That snapped in the middle of reloading. I don't know if I was just getting set up or if I was in the reloading, but that ended up snapping on me. I was making some kind of adjustment, and then when that went back in line, it didn't go in line right, and it snapped in half. Kind of annoyed, but it's a little piece. And then, so I actually picked up one of the spare kits, the spare parts kits, which I would suggest getting that because if something happens, you can get right back into reloading. It comes with a lot of the majority of the stuff that would cause you problems, they would break. Now, what I was trying to get at was, so I had that break. I used the spare part, put it in the press, kept reloading. Everything was good. The next business day, I ended up calling Dillon, telling them what happened. And it was literally the easiest conversation I've ever had with any company as far as trying to get a warranty or replacement part. I called them. I don't remember the lady's name that answered. She asked what was going on. I explained to her, it was very simple. Hey, I was reloading. This piece broke on my, told her what the piece was, the part number. And then she asked for my customer number, which I didn't even know I had a customer number. And I looked afterwards and I can't find it. But I ended up telling her my name and I bought it straight from them. So I was in their system. She pulled up my account and verified my address and said, okay, thanks, we'll send this out to you. And that was pretty much it. Told her it was broken. She said, no problem. She's going to send out the part. She sent it over to somebody else in a different department. And I think it was 3 or 4 days later, I had the part show up to my house. So they claim that they have a no BS warranty. I really believe that they really stand behind the product, and that's easily a small little piece. It's a small little plastic piece. They could easily have wrote that off as just a wear and tear item, which I thought that they were going to, and I wouldn't have been mad if they did say that, but The fact that they warranted it and didn't question it, didn't make me send anything back. I mean, it's a small little piece online. I think they go for like $5. And yeah, they didn't say anything. They just said they're going to send it out, and it showed up to my house. So I'm really impressed with their customer service and how quick they are for turning parts around to get us as reloaders back up and going. So that's pretty much the majority of it. This has been working out extremely well. One thing that no one really talks about, and I guess most people would just figure it, but one thing that has really sped up my time is when I'm doing 5.56, 2.23, I don't resize and deprime in line when I'm reloading. I always do that first, and then I'll clean all the lube off through a wet tumbler, and then I'll go through and load it. But just doing the resizing and depriming, when you take everything else off, spray down your cases with some lube, toss it in there, and just run through it. I got through probably about 400 or 500 pieces of brass on resizing and depriming it in like 30 minutes. When usually it would take a while doing that on a single stage press is what I was using before. I had a single stage and a turret press. The single stage is what I did all my case prep on as far as resizing and depriming. But I'm going to start using this because it really saved me so much time. I was kind of baffled by how fast it went. It was something I didn't think about when I bought the press for using that. I was figuring I was still going to do my brass prep on one of my other presses, but not anymore. Not after going through that. And I did the same thing with 6.5 Creedmoor, 308. I think those are the only three that I've ran through as far as case prepping. And it makes life so much easier. So I'm going to start doing all my rifle stuff on this for resizing and depriming. And then I'll go trim and do everything else I have afterwards. But yeah, that was a great feature. So that was one thing that no one really talked about. And I don't know if it was just something that people would figure and already know. With this being my first progressive press, I really didn't even think about that going that fast or using it for that purpose. Kind of thinking about getting the Dillon trimmer and then also the swage gauge. I know Dillon doesn't make the swage gauge. There's a couple other companies that make an additional swage gauge for this, but I'm thinking about getting that and the trimmer so I can do all of that all at one time if I have any once-fired brass or any range pickup or anything like that, because that would extremely speed up my case prepping time. And so far, I'm really pleased with the Dillon, and it's been a lot of fun. I mean, like I said, I've reloaded quite a few rounds. I'm probably like at 1,500 rounds in a couple weeks, maybe a couple months, a month and a half. And that's obviously I'm working full time, so I'm not in this all the time, but this has extremely sped up the amount of time that I'm up here reloading for going out shooting. So I'm gonna let this go for a little bit, or I'm gonna run a couple. I think there's 15 pieces of brass in here. I'm gonna run this through. I don't want to turn the case feeder on because it's kind of loud, and I don't want to blow you guys' eardrums out. So I'm gonna just run a couple rounds through, and then just to close out this video. But thanks for stopping by. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Alright guys, that was 10 rounds. That's just what I had in here. I'll flip this on so you can hear how loud it is. I mean, it's not bad. I don't know how bad it's going to be on the camera. But once you have it filled up and going, it never goes empty. It definitely keeps up with you. That one case I pulled off, it was, I don't think the crimp has been removed, so I'm going to have to take it to my case prep express to take the crimp off. And then I'll run it back through this. If you're still around, just let you know. Earlier I timed it and I ran I ran 100 pieces of 9mm or 100 rounds of 9mm in around 11 minutes. So this thing does book and it does do good. It's extremely fast. So, alright guys, thanks for stopping by. Stay till the end. Thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you guys later.